We're gonna pretend like that white van is a kid running out on the road, and I want you to slam on your brakes. Oh. Check mirror and blind spot, curve slightly, stop at your first limit line, and then only right here, shift to braking. Hi, this is Jacqueline, and I get to be your driving teacher today with one of my favorite students, my daughter, Emma. Hello. So one of the things we're going to work on is how to know when to come to a stop. And when we're thinking about stopping, we're thinking about where we want to stop. So we're going to be talking about our stamps and our limit lines. We're also going to be talking about coasting. That's that moment where you release your pressure from the gas, you let yourself roll a little bit before you pivot to the brake and start to apply pressure. So we're going to follow this specific pattern. We're going to accelerate toward our speed limit. Then when we see the stop sign and we decide that we want to stop, we're going to release and coast. We're going to cover the brake and apply pressure to come to a complete stop as soon as the limit line disappears from view of the windshield wiper. And we'll see how that works. We're going to be driving in the very best case scenario with really clearly marked roads. Then we'll go out to different conditions, places where there might not be a limit line and you're just going to have to visually try to see your stopping target. We'll also go uphill so that you can see that when you're stopping uphill, you have to release your pressure a little differently, and we'll stop going downhill. So you can see that you're going to have to apply more pressure if you're coming to a stop downhill. And of course, we're going to be remembering that stopping at 5 miles an hour feels different than 15 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour, or 50 miles an hour. So we're going to try to drive in different conditions so that we can experience what stopping feels like. All right, first, we're going to go. So Emma, go ahead and start driving.
Sure thing, boss.
Mommy. Mommy, okay. Just kidding. You don't have to call me Mommy. Oh, Emma just modeled slowing to an almost sudden stop because there was a pedestrian that looked like they were going to cross.
But he saw me, so I felt like I could keep going.
Yep, but you were ready to stop if you had to.
I was so ready.
That is very important. That's why we stop. Turn right at the stop sign. I love the way you came to a nice slow stop with your final rest being right at the limit line. The important thing about the positioning for the final stop is that we want to have the best visibility for pedestrians. So the limit lines are printed at a precise spot where you will have the visibility you need. Model that for us at this pedestrian crossing, please, Emma.
Don't see anyone there.
All right.
Don't see anyone there. Looks good.
And of course, the bright yellow stripes on the side alert the driver to be extra cautious because yellow is our caution color. This positioning gives us the perfect view of the sidewalk, and then we can make our turn. All the way down this road, Emma's going to practice perfect stopping. And at the next stretch of road, Emma, can you tell us about your pattern, what you're doing now?
Sure. So right now I'm still accelerating, but I noticed that there's a stop sign, so I'm going to take my foot off the gas and I'm going to coast for a little bit. And now I'm going to start slowly braking to set myself up for a stop right here. Now I don't see anyone, so I'm going to keep going.
And the speed limit in this community is 15 miles an hour. So the slow acceleration and the nice gentle stop is a match for the environment. And the reason that it's 15 miles an hour is there's a lot of parked cars and a lot of kids in the neighborhood. And so we drive slow so that we can be sure to stop for anybody. Have you ever had anybody run out in front of you, like for real, that you had to stop for?
Not in a really scary way, but one time I was looking I was making a left turn and I looked up and down to see who was coming, and I started turning, and then I noticed that there was a person in a wheelchair crossing, and I hadn't looked at the right level to see them. So that was a really good reminder for me that there's people at all sorts of heights that you have to be looking up for, and that's probably the same for little kids too.
Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
That's good stuff. That's gold right there. And let's make a left at the stop sign. So we're going to leave the 15-mile-an-hour area where Emma has been modeling this perfect stop. And we're going to head into a 25-mile-an-hour area. And then we'll see that the coasting starts a little bit earlier. You have to put a little bit more pressure on the brake. But you use the same idea of stopping at the same target. Emma, can you describe visually how you're tracking your target?
What?
Can you describe like what the visual target is? Like, what are you looking at?
I'm looking at... I don't even know how to begin to answer that question. Can you give me an example? I see the stop sign in front of me. Am I turning right?
We'll go straight.
We'll go straight. I suppose I'm thinking about how far it is with relation to me.
Okay.
Thinking about where the letters are? Is that a good answer?
Well, if that's what you're feeling. When we were driving into this particular stop where we are, I was noticing a solid white limit line on the left.
Mm-hmm.
Look out your right or your left window mirror. Can you see it?
Yeah.
I was seeing another white limit line, which makes a little box, which visually creates like, oh, that's where my car should go. And then there was a white arrow underneath that I look at as like a stamp.
Yep.
I'm wondering though, if you can look at it like that, maybe that'll help
think I'm not thinking about it in the same way, so that's a good reminder to start thinking about it that way. I'm just driving.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you meant when we were pulling up to the stop signs. I was like, there's the road, then there's the stop sign.
Yep. Thank you for scanning right and left before you popped out into the road.
The speed limit is 25 here.
25 miles an hour. Stop sign way up ahead. We can already see it. So to come to a perfect stop in your target area. Nice. Emma started to coast to let her speed drop. She's applying slight pressure to the brake. And once again, a perfect stop right at the limit line. Now that we're talking about limit lines, do you see how many people stop with their tires over the limit lines?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever been a pedestrian where somebody was over their limit line and you had to walk around them?
Certainly.
Mm-hmm. Don't be that driver. And going uphill, Emma is going to have to actually accelerate toward the stop. We're going to make a left turn. And then only right here, shift to braking. Otherwise, she would stop too far back. And if she stopped too far back, she wouldn't have the visibility she needs to make her next choice. We are going to cross a dangerous intersection. So Emma did a first stop at exactly the right spot so that we could check and make sure the crosswalk is done. But now we're going to model where to stop for your second stop. So can you creep out until your mirrors are lined up with the very edge of the cement? Nice. And then from here, we have good visibility. This street has speed bumps, and our speed limit for speed bumps is 15 miles an hour. So Emma is going to model the same thing she's been practicing for her full stops, which is slowing down to a safe speed, but instead of coming to a full stop, She's gonna release the brake, roll over, and accelerate again back toward the speed limit. And these white stripes cue us to start coasting and slowing down.
I'm finding myself not really doing any coasting in between because I'm
And right at the stop sign.
So should I be accelerating for less time?
Well, those speed bumps were close together, so you just need a little burst of acceleration to get your speed, to get you to the next one. Yep, and then you start coasting. We are having a perfect example of why we stop at the limit line so that somebody can walk safely from curb cut to curb cut across the street. And then we creep forward for visibility. And then we make our right when it's safe. We're gonna go all the way to the light and we're gonna make a right turn. And we have a bicycle in the bike lane, so Emma is gonna model a great right turn, making sure that we're safe. Watching out for the cyclist. Signal, mirror, blind spot, curve, and turn. And we went around that corner at 15 miles an hour to start, 12 as we were in the slowest point, and that was the perfect slow speed for that turn. Nice, Em.
Yeah.
We're gonna turn right at the stop sign. And now we're gonna accelerate up a tall hill. We keep our speed limit at 25 as we're approaching the hill, ascending. Then we see the 15 stamp. We let our speed drop to 15 and we keep it at 15 to get up and over the hill safely. And we're prepared to stop if there's a hazard. But since there isn't, we get to go ahead. So there's lots of times when we're thinking about how we prepare to stop, not just when we're approaching a stop sign. But now that we're going downhill toward a stop sign, Emma's had her foot on the brake the whole time, right? Do you want to explain how it feels different to stop at a stop sign downhill?
Yeah, so obviously there's no coasting, because if you were to coast downhill, you just shoot straight down toward the stop sign.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking about, yeah, keeping my foot on the brake, making sure that I felt like I had control over my speed, and just slowing to a stop.
It felt very nice to me as your passenger.
Thank you.
You're a very good driver, young one.
Where am I going here?
Let's go straight up the middle.
Okay.
When we stop behind a car, we have to make sure that we can see the ground behind the back two tires. And that ensures that we have our safe distance of 7 to 10 feet. This is a situation where the speed limit is 25, but we have to be prepared to yield to pedestrians at any time. So as soon as we spot somebody on the move, we reduce our speed so that we can slow and stop.
I'm also thinking about how there are a lot of cars that might be reversing at any second.
Mm-hmm. Good eye.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
If I, God forbid, don't notice a pedestrian right away and I'm already in the intersection, is it safer to quickly stop and make sure they can pass, or to just say, sorry dude, and get out of the intersection?
If the pedestrian has stepped off the curb, you are always going to yield.
Right.
There's no such thing as a sorry dude.
No.
And blow past them. No, that doesn't
never.
exist.
Never.
But let's say you sort of make eye contact with somebody on the corner of the road. You can tell that they want to cross, but you check your rearview mirror and you see there's a bunch of cars going fast
Right.
behind you, and you're like, that's where you get to say, sorry dude, But
if
guess
they
what?
Take even one step.
Yeah, but the person on the side of the road will be doing the same evaluation you're doing, and hopefully they will make the safe choice and yield to cars, which is part of the work that pedestrians and cars are supposed to do together. But we know that we always yield to avoid collision. Pedestrians, bicyclists, and cars. And buses and trains. They're not going.
They're not going.
I could tell.
They're just hanging out.
Just hanging out with the
For
bus stop. Yeah.
Those bus stops on the corner are confusing sometimes.
But next time we see a group of people congregating, you can look and see, oh, is it a bus stop? Stop harder. Perfect example. We had to yield because they were in motion and they were showing us with their body language that they were on the move.
They really are on the move.
Yeah. I noticed that as soon as I saw the brake lights ahead of me, Emma's foot released from the gas and pivoted to cover the brake, and that made me feel super safe as your passenger. Really good driving. We're gonna make a left at this next street. It's an unprotected left, and because of the speed of the oncoming traffic, Emma paused to yield. And because the pedestrians have not stepped on the curb, we are making our left turn. We're getting to practice all the things we've been wondering about. Driving down a road like this, we have to be prepared to stop on a dime, which is why even though it doesn't say slow, there is a yellow school sign. There's no school in session, but we're still gonna observe this like it's a narrow road, there's a park, there could be kids running around.
I'm noticing that there's a car covering my signals.
Ay, ay, ay.
So I do the best I can with the information I have.
Mm-hmm. Emma, we're gonna pretend like that white truck is a car. We're gonna pretend like that white van is a kid running out on the road, and I want you to slam on your brakes. Oh, that felt jerky, right? But that's what it's supposed to feel. Yeah, okay. You were going about 7 miles an hour there. Now I want you to go 15 miles an hour. And now slam on your brakes. Oof. Doesn't feel good, does it?
No, that does not feel good.
All right, let's keep going. We're not gonna go 25 miles an hour and slam on our brakes because we don't want to disturb the neighborhood. Instead, let's go and do our nice gentle stopping at the light, and we're gonna keep going straight. And because we're the first car, when the light turns green, you're gonna do your quick scan right and left and then go through. And we're gonna practice with some more speed bumps. Because we're going uphill, you actually have to accelerate a little bit to get to the speed bump. Now coast, and we don't have to brake at all. We just roll over and then accelerate more. So when we're thinking about how to stop and we're confused about how to stop, we keep in mind our target, we keep in mind our reason for stopping. If we have to come to a sudden stop, we will. But if we can make it a nice smooth stop, that's our best bet. If we're going uphill, we think about gravity and how it affects the car. And if we're going downhill, we also think about gravity and we stop harder. Going downhill in this neighborhood road, Emma's applying slight pressure to keep us at a nice safe speed of 25 miles an hour. And we're gonna make a right at the next light, and the last stopping we're gonna do is in a parking spot. We're gonna look for a parking spot.
Okay.
Check mirror and blind spot, curve slightly, stop at your first limit line. And if it's safe to turn right on red, you can.
This is interesting because there's the line.
Let's not go anymore because we missed our opportunity.
But there's the line here at the light.
Yep.
And then there's the crosswalk,
the tire
which
stripes.
traditionally also functions as the limit line. So here there's this line and then a line.
And then the tire stripes. And the tire stripes show us how far out we go to make our turn. Track your left mirror and you see it tracks perfectly. But you're right, the first limit line was before the sidewalk crossing. That way somebody with a stroller could cross, or your friend in the wheelchair. And the second stripes, those were guiding lines for our turn. Yeah, but also very important. And now we're looking for a spot, so we're driving a slow speed. We'll put on our signal when we see our spot. I don't know where it's gonna be. Is that it? Yay! Check mirror and blind spot. And because we're already going so slow, it's nice and easy to come to a full stop when we're parking. Excellent! Emma put the car in park, and I would love it if you could tell us a couple things that you find the most important about knowing when to come to a nice, smooth stop.
Today I learned about, not for the first time though, of course, but we practiced first paying attention to what environment you're in. Am I on a flat street? Am I on a hill? Going up? Am I going downhill? And then after you have that information, practicing either, let's say if we're on a flat street, we're gonna accelerate to the speed limit and then practice coasting and then slow to a stop. And something that I worked on today was noticing the limit line and practicing stopping right after I pass the limit line. My line of vision.
Right after the limit line disappears from your view of your windshield wipers.
That's a really great way of saying it.
And that's your perfect position. Did it feel like you were in the perfect position when you stopped in those spots?
I think so. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm doing some unlearning of my previous teachings, which told me to stop at the T.
I was not her driving teacher.
She was not my driving teacher, so it's good for me to practice.
Okay. All right. Bye. Thank you for studying with us today. Keep learning and you'll get really good at all this stuff. Bye.
Okay.